ADN político a nuestro presidente Enrique Peña Nieto, en el cual podemos ver un claro ejemplo sobre lo que es fake news.
La única manera de poder comunicar a la población a la que gobiernas es a través de los medios de comunicación, y evidentemente la relación con todos los medios, sin excepción, la he buscado, la he procurado y la he tenido como gobernador del Estado de México y evidentemente como actor político que soy. De ahí que, pues evidentemente, sobre todo voces contrarias a tu servidor, opositores a tu servidor, hayan construido esta leyenda de ser candidato a un medio. No lo soy. Soy alguien que ha venido trabajando y comunicando a través de los medios y me ha llevado a tener una relación con todos sin excepción.
Ahora veremos un experimento basado en la teoría del cultivo.
In the 1970s, Professor George Gerbner, Dean of the Annenberg School for Communication at the University of Pennsylvania, this project later became the cultivation theory. Gerbner said that television has become the main source of storytelling in human society, in addition to being a medium of the socialization of most people. World syndrome, an idea that proposes that the world is worse than it actually is. Gerbner poses that the effects of television watching are not immediate. Rather, it continuously nurtures and shapes the viewer's perception of the world around them. The cultivation theory, in its most basic form, suggests that exposure to television will, over time, subtly cultivate viewers' perception of reality.
¿Te has preguntado cuál es la influencia de los medios de comunicación y de los líderes de opinión sobre lo que tú piensas?
In the 1940s, American sociologist Paul S. Lazarsfeld wrote The People's Choice, a book that summarized his research into the November 1940 presidential election. In the course of his research, he discovered that we're more likely to be influenced by other people than the mass media. Lazarsfeld called these people opinion leaders. Along with Elihu Katz, he later published a book called Personal Influence, in which he provided further evidence for this theory.
Investigadores que observaban el flujo de información en la red social Twitter descubrieron evidencia que sustenta la teoría de los dos escalones.
After analysing the flow of information, the researchers discovered that news finds its way to people through a number of prominent and influential opinion leaders. They found considerable support for the two-step flow of information. Almost half the information that originates from the media passes to the masses indirectly via a diffuse intermediate layer of opinion leaders who, although classified as ordinary users, are more connected and more exposed to the media than their followers.
Este video habla acerca de la teoría del aprendizaje social.
Pertaining to the subject of violence in the media, has repeatedly used the term murder simulator to describe first-person shooter games. He argues that video game publishers unethically train children in the use of weapons and, more importantly, harden them emotionally to the act of murder by simulating the killing of hundreds or thousands of opponents in a single typical video game. That violent video games are as bad an influence on children as are television shows with the same level of violence and cruelty.
The segment you're about to see is taken from an early experiment on learning of aggressive styles of behavior through modeling. Children watched a filmed adult perform novel aggressive acts toward a inflated doll, and the physical aggression was accompanied by novel hostile remarks. We later measured how much of this modeled aggression the children had learned just by watching. Now, the measurement of learning of aggression uses simulated targets rather than live ones. For the model pummeled a doll with a mallet, eat it. It was once widely believed that seeing others vent aggression would drain the viewer's aggressive drive. As you can see, exposure to aggressive modeling is hardly cathartic. Exposure to aggressive modeling increased attraction to guns, even though it was never modeled. Guns had less appeal to children who had no exposure to the aggressive modeling. The children also contained varied play materials, And children could choose to play aggressively or non-aggressively. Devised new ways of hitting the doll. Now, the object of interest was the novel aggressive acts, not punching the doll. And children in the group who had no exposure to the aggressive modeling never exhibited the novel forms of aggression. And here's a creative embellishment. A doll becomes a weapon of assault.
Entre otras noticias, vamos a presentar el programa de entretenimiento de National Geographic, que es acerca de los conocimientos de los latinoamericanos llamados supercerebros.
Lunes. Muy pronto, 20 latinoamericanos te harán vibrar con el primer concurso mental de Nat Geo.
Un desafío que te llevará al límite de la mente humana.
4611.
Personas capaces de memorizar cientos de imágenes, cifras y datos.
Supercerebros. Estreno. Próximo lunes a las 10 en Nat Geo.
La propaganda construyendo sentimientos nacionalistas para los países que van al mundial.
Con alguien que nació en Francia y le dijo no gracias a los franceses. Merci beaucoup. Con un tipo que está frente a la última oportunidad de su vida y lo sabe. Se van a encontrar con uno que nació con 2 balones de oro. Los tiene bien puestos. Con aquello que tanto conocen y tanto temen. Se van a encontrar con un pueblo que inventó algo mejor que el fútbol. El amor al fútbol. Se van a encontrar con el país al que no le importa cuántas entradas le dieron. Y se van a arrepentir de habernos dado una. Con todo eso se van a encontrar.
¿Y tú? ¿Crees que los medios nos manipulan?